My name is Beth Williams, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as the building principal at North Hills Middle School. We are very excited to be with you here today to present with you on being newly distinguished as a Schools to Watch school. With me today is a team of educators, and I'm going to allow them to go ahead and introduce themselves.
Jason Bale, the assistant principal.
Joe Welch, 8th grade social studies.
Doug Sendo, special education.
Libby Gager, social studies, 7th grade.
Joe Brooks, 7th grade literacy arts.
I'm Tina Norman. I am 8th grade literacy arts.
Larry Dornkamp, 8th grade social studies.
Just some fun facts about North Hills Middle School. We are a Tier 1 school located right outside of the city of Pittsburgh. We're about 6 miles away from the city of Pittsburgh. Our enrollment this year is about 555 students, and we house grades 7 and 8 in our building. We have only officially been a middle school for 18 months. We were a junior high prior to that. We had 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, so we've only been in middle school officially for about 18 months. And as you can see, we are very diverse in the sense of our population, economically disadvantaged, about 28%. One of the most important things that we're going to talk about today is our organizational structures and processes. With becoming a middle school, we had to spend a lot of time talking about middle school students and what our processes and what our structures needed to look like in order to best support our students. So the most important thing that we worked on together as a staff was creating a vision. Everything that we do at North Hills Middle School is indeed tied back to that vision, and the vision that we created as a staff was inspiring all to achieve their very best. That is not something that we put out there just for students. We take that very seriously for ourselves as well. As a staff and as administrators, our job every single day is to do our very best and continue to grow and learn right along with the students.
Some of the ways we support our staff, we think obviously supporting our staff lets us support our students. We already heard about our vision, and that's where everything starts. That's our foundation. We also provide clear expectations for our staff in the staff handbook. Everything is very detailed in there so that there is clear communication on what is expected of them, and then therefore they can be in place and be ready to help our students. As far as our master schedule, we try to do a lot with our master schedule. We came up with a few versions of it to allow for as much flexibility as possible so that we can maximize academic instruction time, but still facilitate some of the other important events that middle schoolers need to experience. So we have a AM assembly schedule, a PM assembly schedule that we worked out so that each class still gets to see their students each day. Obviously, sadly, a delay schedule's been used pretty often lately than our normal daily schedule. Within those schedules, we allow for common planning both on a team basis and then between co-teachers, which obviously without that planning time, little could get done. The people that we have in place would not be maximized. And then other things that we do to support our staff is we try to look at our curriculum on a consistent basis. We have a curriculum cycle every couple of years that lets us make sure that what we're offering our students matches the times and is providing them with the best education possible. We have a differentiated supervision and evaluation plan. We let the teachers decide a lot of what they do as their PD, which we think is really important, and it's on a cyclical basis. They go through a 4-year cycle, and each year offers them some different opportunities.
We also solicit teacher input. That is very, very important to us. We truly believe at North Hills Middle School in shared leadership. It is not just top-down with Jason and I making all the decisions. We come to the table and we have meetings quite frequently because we do have common planning time, team time, which we can push into with the administrators or counselors, things such as that. So we have team meetings that occur daily, every single day, 1 period a day. We also meet with our guidance counselors. Jason and I do on a weekly basis. We have team leader meetings where the 7th grade team leaders and the 8th grade team leaders come down and meet with us as an administrative team. We have our building rep meetings. We have our staff meetings through our professional development and department meetings. We truly value that collaborative time, and we encourage the staff. We really want to empower them to come to us, to put issues on the table, to look at data, to reflect, and reach that solution or new direction together. And again, that leads right into the last thing that we believe in very much so at the middle school. which is empowering that staff. We choose not to look at obstacles as something that is detrimental. We choose to look at them as challenges of something that we can truly work together to overcome. So we work very collaboratively together. And I think the underpinning foundation to this, anytime the staff would come to either one of us with a question or a new proposal or things such as that, they know what question they're going to hear from Jason and I. And that is typically is, how is this decision in the best interest of students? How are we going to help students? How are students going to grow? Whether that's academically, whether it's socially, whether it's developmentally, that is truly very, very important to us. And it has been a wonderful opportunity over the past 18 months to see the shared leadership and see the emergence of such strong teacher leaders within the building. They have really stepped up. A lot of our professional development is led by the staff. You know, we'll have a faculty meeting, we'll talk about some things, and then staff will say, hey, I want to stand up, can I present on this, and share an idea. And that culture is very, very important to our building, and it has led to obviously some wonderful things.
Okay, great. So my colleagues and I wanted to talk to you quickly about how we, in turn, since we are so supported as a staff, how we then in return support our students. One of the most important documents that we have is our parent-student handbook. This is online, all of our parents can access it. Our kids carry around planners that they use for their hall pass. They write down homework assignments, and portions of that handbook are also within that planner that they can, of course, look at. The other thing I wanted to talk quickly about is our universal academic strategies. We've done a lot over the past 18 months as far as school-wide initiatives. Last year we did ACE, the Answer Site Explained Writing Graphic Organizer. We also are doing EBSRs in social studies and science this year. We've had a strong focus on that. And then of course our text-dependent analysis, just to get our kids prepared. But it's great that we've been able to do it content-wide and lead that across our building because it just becomes so familiar to our kids and they're not surprised to see it in any of their content areas.
Another way we support our students, which I'm sure you do as well, is the use of data. And on our slide here we have 4 examples of that. The last one, the one I really wanted to focus on, which was the student-led conferences. We share data in a variety of ways in our district, in our building. Parents have access to that, but the missing component as a middle school was the student-led conference where we get the students' perspective. They have a questionnaire that they come in with, and they're directing it. They're telling us how they feel about our middle school, what we can do best to support them. And one of my favorite questions on there is, what are your goals going forward? How's the next semester going to be better? I think the use of data is tremendously important, but as a middle school, the missing component for us was the student-led and the student-centered focus.
And one last area where we support our students is we give them authentic learning opportunities. This year, for the first time, our family consumer science, the tech ed, and the art departments came together to implement the STEAM program. And what happened there is you had 2 students from tech ed, 2 students from art, 2 students from the F&CS classes had to come together for a project where they had to create a restaurant. In art, they were responsible for creating the logo. In family and consumer science, they created the food that went on that menu. And in tech ed, they designed using Google Sketch the restaurant. So that was the first time they finished their projects, and they did a very nice job with that. On the teams, we have 6 teams, 3 8th grade teams, 3 7th grade teams, and there's a variety of activities that they'll do across the board. We have our pirate education days where we go down to the pirate game, and there's some activities that are provided by the organization for the students to partake in. We do content projects. We prepare for the PSSA building-wide. We take one day and we play the Hunger Games, and the students rotate all across the building, and they go to each room, and there's a different PSSA skill that they participate in. And then finally, in the language classrooms, it's total immersion. They go into that classroom for 40 minutes, they hear that language, they talk that language, and they're totally immersed within whatever language that they're studying at the time.
going back to our building vision, which was inspiring all students to be their very best, we want to put them constantly in different positions in order for them to achieve their maximum potential. And one of the ways that we do that, well, multiple ways that we do that, we try to use as many different strategies to allow students to show us what they've learned while they're learning it. We have a great deal of technology integration. We have classes that are completely technology infused, and we also, for the students that might not be their learning style, they're not using as much technology. So they're getting a wide array, or a wide range of different techniques throughout the school day. Flexible grouping is also done in different methods. We have a traditional way of, in reading classes, grouping students, in science classes, in all of their different classes. But sometimes flexible grouping is done and a student doesn't even know it. For example, in our 8th grade science department, students using blended schools and Blackboard, they are given different assignments. They might not even know that they're doing a different task than somebody sitting 2 seats down from them. So it's just another way to allow students to reach their best on their both individual and as a collective group. And another way that we really emphasize students achieving their maximum potential, we want them to be part of their own planning and organization. Just as Ms. Gager mentioned with student-led conferences, we want them to take ownership. They are expected nonstop to carry around their planner. When they do that, another reason, it's their hall pass to go to the bathroom. But they are always carrying around their planner, taking note of their assignments, because they're really taking ownership of that process.
Additional opportunities for students to get support from us. So you heard from the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, different ideas. Well, on the spectrum here, guided study, resource room, homeroom. Probably ask yourself, what is guided study? Guided study, 7th grade, when they have their lunch period during 5th period, we have a room that is set up right next to the cafeteria. That if a student is having some difficulty in math, English, whatnot, they're able to go to that room. That room is staffed with 2, 3 teachers, sometimes 4 teachers down there. So that's a guided study that we use. And even throughout the day, we'll have a teacher in the room. If a student has a study hall and they need to go to that room to get some math work or help, they can go there as well with the resource room. Homeroom, our homeroom period is at the end of the day. It's after 9th period, so that gives us an opportunity and I'm a special ed teacher, so I'm running around trying to get the kids and making sure that everything's going home with them that night. It gives us an opportunity at the end of the day to touch base with them so they know what needs to be completed for that night, and I can go over some things with them. So those are 3 additional opportunities that the students have throughout the day.
Okay, the next bullet there talks about a positive behavior support plan. For the years that I've been at North Hills, when we came to managing student behavior, it was always focused on a negative. If they did something wrong, they got a check. If they forgot their homework, they got a check. Well, last year in 8th grade, we decided to try to flip that and reward positive behavior. So we came up with something called Citizenship Cash, where all the teachers in the building, electives included, have slips that we call Citizenship Cash. And when they witness a student do something positive, or maybe you have a kid who just always does their homework and is always doing what they're supposed to do and doesn't really get recognized for it, well, this is a way for us to recognize the positive. So they would get Citizenship Cash, that we sign off on it, they sign it, and then in the 3 teams social studies classes, we have boxes where they deposit them in a box, and at the end of each month, we have a drawing for a prize. Some of the prizes that we've gotten from, we've just written to the general public, people donating things, or student council will purchase things. I think what was it, Penguin tickets was the last thing we raised. 2 Penguin tickets, movie tickets, gift cards, things of that nature, things that the kids want. Not necessarily iTunes cards, because we don't buy music, they steal the music. So the iTunes card was a no-go, but so we gave them other cards. We also have a Student of the Month, which students are starting now to catch on to it. At the beginning of the year, they're like, oh, Student of the Month. And now I've had students ask me, well, how come he got Student of the Month? Like, what did he do to get students? So now they're kind of thinking about, oh, okay, he's doing this, this, and this. Maybe if I want to be recognized, I could do the same thing. So
Those are just some ways that we're trying to emphasize the positive behavior at Northwest Middle School. And then this is this has been mentioned already, just cross-curriculum literacy skills being emphasized. So I'm not going to bore you with that one again.
Okay, we decided since we're going to be throwing so much information at you that before we started the next domain, we wanted to see if you had any questions for us, at least at this point in time, with our organizational structures and processes, anything. Yes?
Yes, could you please tell me, go back to your bell schedule, how many
Sure.
periods do you have,
We
how
have-
long is the class length, and do you have teams?
We do. We have 3 teams in 7th grade, and we have 3 teams in 8th grade. We have a 9-period bell schedule, or 9-period day. One of those periods is lunch. For 7th grade, 5th period is their lunch. For 8th grade, it is 6th period. We do not mix the grades at lunchtime, 7th grade lunch, 8th grade lunch. And our bell schedule, our periods are 40 minutes in length.
40 minutes, you said?
Yes.
And homeroom is not one of those periods, so it is, in a way, a 10 period.
And lunch is 30 minutes.
Lunch is 30, and homeroom at the end of the day is about 25 minutes. At the end of the day.
Thank you.
Sure,
Can you
yes.
tell what the 8 periods are? Like, do you have a separate reading?
We
and
do.
language arts?
In
Okay.
7th grade, it is math. Their core classes are math, science, social studies, English, lit arts, which is our reading class. And then they have a trimester course, which is art, family, consumer, science, and tech ed, so that's 13 weeks of that. They also take Introduction to Computers, which is a semester course. They have PE for half of the year, physical education, and I'm going to say world language exploratory they also take. We have 4 world languages that the kids have an opportunity to take, and then obviously we have music, which flips with PE. We have based our master schedule around our kids' literacy needs. So depending upon the data, when we look at all the data and all the testing and things such as that, depending upon that student's need for literacy, their schedules might look a little bit different. In 7th grade, they can come into one of 3 schedules. And we have a literacy arts class that is only a semester. That's for those students that are reading well above grade level. So it's a semester course because we embed those literacy strategies into our other classes with the co-teaching model. We also have for those students who are about grade level, they meet 1 period a day for a literacy arts class. And then those students who are significantly below grade level, we have a double blocked 90-minute intervention period for those students. And for us to be able to do that, they don't have the world language exploratory in 7th grade, but it does not prohibit them in 8th grade. If things are obviously improving, their reading is going in the direction it needs to, it doesn't prohibit them from 8th grade from taking a level 1 language. Okay, so that would be 7th grade. And then 8th grade is math, science, social studies, English, again. They have a music option in that section as well. Trimesters, world language,
PE and health.
health, and PE. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
Do all of your teams have the double block literacy arts for your lower reading students?
Literacy arts is not on team, although that is a required course. It's a core course. It is not on team. But those students, depending upon where the data places them, but that common planning can invite anyone in. So for example, Doug, who is a special ed teacher, if he knows a team is meeting, he has the flexibility in his schedule to go in and meet with that team to discuss his students, as does Jill. She can meet with the classes or the teachers that she plans with as well, because she does co-teach in some of the different classes. So we build that time in for them. And then some of the teachers are able to use homeroom time at the end of the day to kind of meet and coordinate as well, to either pull kids and work with kids. I know the literacy arts teachers oftentimes do testing, they'll pull kids in to do some different testing to see where the kids are at, with fluency and things such as that. So we utilize as much time throughout the day as we possibly can to get them together and collaborate. And then as Jason mentioned, I think the differentiated PD plan really allows, we let the teachers drive what they need to learn to basically continue to improve their professional development growth as well as increase student achievement. Yes?
Could you please discuss, you referenced the fact that you have multiple teachers in a room for an enhancement/advisory type period. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Guided study.
Yes, guided study.
I'm sorry.
No, please.
That is during, at lunchtime, so if the 7th grade's down there and the students, they need some help with anything, they have the capability, they just let the teacher know in the lunchroom in the caf that they're going to the guided study, they come up to us, we sit down with them. I'll bet you on any given day, there's 20, 25 students that'll come up and get some help, maybe 5 minutes for math or 5 minutes for English. But there's generally 3, 4 of us, teachers that are in that room to give them help at all times.
Do the teachers ask students to attend to that, or do they seek
They
out
do
themselves?
ask if a student is out for a period of time, sick or, just coming back or vacation or whatnot, all the gamuts of they come from. Teachers will ask them, they'll give them a slip to, report to guided study that day to, complete a writing assignment or a test or a quiz that they have to
So
make.
they'll go get their lunch and then go back?
Oh, yes, yeah, they'll get their lunch, bring it into the room, we'll sit there. I call it fine dining with Mr. Sundo, so, it's just, and the kids catch on to it, and they come down, and they, there's some kids that, I'm just coming down to eat with you.
And
it's
parents
just-
know about it as well, so they'll request that if they feel, if they're looking at, our progress book and monitoring their child's grades and they're thinking there's a problem, they might call in and request, is there any, is it possible for my child to go to guidance study? Certainly, we welcome all.
Last question with that, is that a teacher duty or is that teacher on their own lunches?
We've had both.
Right.
It is a teacher duty, but we
Right.
also have teachers who happily take kids upstairs and will give up their lunchtime to do that. But
Right.
that is a teacher duty.
Okay,
So we have that every single year in the schedule.
thank you.
No, scheduling question, going back to that. You said 8th grade, do they get health and PE, family consumer science, technology? They do get those.
Yeah, health and PE is the semester each, the family
Trimester.
consumer science, tech ed and art are a trimester, that's our STEAM program.
So I'm sorry, was tech ed, art, now they get in 8th grade?
Yes, they take another
Both seventh
trimester,
and
both in
eighth. They
7th and
get
8th.
the same 3 classes, just different versions.
Okay, I didn't hear any technology. I heard intro to technology for 7th grade.
Intro to computers. Well, in 8th grade, as I think it was Joe mentioned, and maybe you guys want to speak to this, we have a lot of technology at North Hills Middle School. So Joe, do you want to kind of talk?
Sure, that's, so the 7th grade course, they do have an intro to computers course, and then once they do get to 8th grade, within their social studies classes, I want to say it's half social studies, half technology. They're learning how to make iMovies along with their social studies projects. They are learning presentation skills, they're learning how to animate. So it's really, to use the word hybrid, it's a hybrid system. They're really picking up both skills within that one class. A lot of that is also done in some of our 7th grade classes, they're picking up the same skills. So technology, I don't want to say is a separate class. It's really infused in many different areas, not just social studies throughout the building.
So-
In 7th grade, I'll do the same. I teach them the iMovie program. They're working with Google Classrooms or Blackboard, and they do get a lot of technology from me too.
We have Mac books, carts of Mac books, we have Mac labs, we have PCs, we have iPads, we have iPods. We have an awful lot. We're very much blessed in that instance, and we are currently exploring the possibility of going full one-to-one with iPads.
With math, I'm sorry, with
iPads.
With iPads.
Yes. Any other questions on the first